This is Sports 225 with Lee Feinswag. Sports 225 with Lee Feinswag is Baton Rouge's longest running and best television show. Who would have believed that?
My best friend, Lee Feinswag, with the Christmas.
Sports 225 is brought to you by Breck. Remember, it all starts at Breck. Now, your host, Lee Feinswag.
It's take two. We already started the show once, but I screwed something up, so what can you do? It's Sports 225. I'm Lee Feinswag. The guest tonight, Ron Higgins from NOLA.com. And I love talking to Ron, love talking hoops. And I was going to make some joke about cover your damn head because Utah just hit another three-pointer. So we're taping this on Tuesday, the morning after LSU just got bludgeoned at Utah. And that was tough, huh?
Yeah, I could kind of see it coming.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to go that far to go play, and they just made it through the first round, Had a bunch of guys banged up and hurt. Didn't have enough people to start with. And Utah's got like 86 three-point shooters. They got people coming out of the stand shooting threes. People at halftime lining up. Can I get a second half? Can I shoot? Can I get like a couple of possessions? It was the end of an 18-15 season, which by all means for LSU was a success after last year. Will Wade did a really nice job with a team that had no depth and no height.
Yeah. And when push came to shove, they always went to the little guard, and eventually, that just didn't work.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's some, sometimes it doesn't work with Tremont. Sometimes Utah was really good. I mean, Wade talked before the game about how Utah's defense puts like this, this umbrella force field up about 18 feet, and you can't get through it. Yeah. And they pretty much did that. And something else he also said pretty funny the other day. He goes, Sheldon Nichols from the Advocate said, he goes, Will, I noticed that Utah isn't a very good rebounding team. And Will, he'll say, oh, they haven't played us yet. and of course, Utah rebounded well last night. LSU got their first offensive rebound with 5 minutes left in the third quarter. So.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah.
Jeez, I didn't realize that.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Well, in terms of the matchups and how they go, how LSU matched up against certain teams, it was all about that. And the fact that Utah had big, strong guards and forwards who could push them out and create that opportunity, like you said, on defense. And then they were just obviously so comfortable at home last.
Well, yeah, their first game at home, they played awful. Then they came out in their first game.
Yeah, I watched that game against UC Davis.
Yeah. Coach got teed up, tossed out to get his team going. And they didn't play well early. Last night, of course, they must have emphasized to come out with a quick start because they were up, golly, 4-0 or 7-0 even before TV got to the broadcast on them because the other game ran long. But it was, it didn't get much better. They hit their first 8 of 9 shots and, just raining threes every chance they got. It was just, just for a second you thought you were back watching last year's LSU team. Yeah.
Higgins-esque. And then in the that's how good they were shooting. They were Higgins-esque. You like that?
Yeah.
They the basketball gods though always have a great sense of humor, and they have throughout this NCAA tournament. But Nevada, of course, is in the round of 16 where Johnny Jones is an assistant coach to Eric Musselman, who used to be his assistant coach. And at some point or another, it seems like everybody who's been at LSU has been an assistant coach or head coach for somebody else. Kermit Davis Jr., John Brady's former assistant, got the job at Ole Miss, which is cool. Have you talked to Kermit since then by chance?
I haven't talked to Kermit since then.
Yeah.
I'm glad he finally got the chance.
To get into the SEC as a head coach.
Yeah, because, in middle you have to be perfect every year to get in the tournament.
Yeah.
Middle Tennessee. Something that, Bob Marlin of Louisiana Lafayette needs to realize.
Yeah.
You got to be pretty perfect to get in the NCAA tournament, and don't get angry when you get the NIT and think you need a high seed. But yeah, I'm happy for Kermit, happy for Musselman and Johnny. I think Musselman's a great coach. Unfortunately, they're going to play a team this week that's on a mission from God, Loyola Chicago, and their sister, who's the team chaplain / assistant.
The Ramblers.
I've
been there. I've been to that campus. Yeah. It's right on Lake Michigan on the north side of Chicago. It's a beautiful little tiny campus. It looks like a little mini Duke, if you will. The facility they play in seats maybe 3,000, and it's a real intimate, really nice gym.
Amazingly,
or arena if you want to.
Amazingly, in my blown-up bracket, they're still alive. I picked them all the way to the.
Did you really?
I think I picked them all the way to the finals of the regional. Yeah.
Wow.
I guess I did because I remember seeing them a few years ago against Ole Miss, and they played really well. I liked the way they played. I thought, I thought this might be a team that get a little, but otherwise, I got one Final Four team left in the bracket.
I think I still have 3 of my Final Four. I had Purdue to win it all because I pick Purdue every year just because, and then Cincinnati's my team that was out, but I still have West Virginia and Michigan.
Sorry, West Virginia.
Yeah. So, all right, so in the remaining time we have left in this segment, since we talked about it and you made a Bob Marlin reference, I want your take on the leading up to the LSU Louisiana game, the yap during it, the timeout with 12 seconds to go, and then the chatter afterwards.
First of all, I thought it was awesome. All of it from beginning to end. I mean, the NIT knew what they were doing when we put this matchup together. I mean, they got people on that committee, I mean, Bob Weltlig's, on that committee.
Is he really?
Yeah,
Former Ole Miss coach.
Yeah, Bob's on that committee. He knows what's going on, and he keeps in touch with basketball, a lot of stuff. So, you have 2 coaches basically, stand up for their program, and Bob Marlin thought his 27-win team deserved a higher seed because they had 27 wins, 10 more than LSU, and they had a RPI that was higher than LSU, and basically he said they should have got a home game and called LSU's arena a gym, and then said, basically they don't want to play us. They probably wish they're not going to play us, something like that. And of course, Will Wade didn't say anything, but it just kind of marinated. Got some information from the inside over there. He said that some kind of watch party, that some things were said about Tremont Waters, called him an overrated midget. Whether it's true or not, you don't know, but that's what they said. So
bulletin board material is bulletin board material.
So play the game, and 12 seconds left. LSU by 9, in the greatest Assembly Center move since Dale Brown dropped the championship banner early on C.M. Newton against Alabama, which C.M. has never forgotten his entire life. Will Wade called timeout, looked over at Bob Marlin and snarled, "Enjoy this!" And Bob Marlin started going toward him to deck him, and coaches pulled him back, and crowd was going. And of course, Wade was going to the crowd. If Dale was in the crowd somewhere, Dale was going, "That was me." And after the game, Wade Winter talked about, good win for us, and despite some things said about us, and some Lafayette radio guy says, "Well, what was said about you?" Then, of course, Will launched into this 4-minute, soliloquy starting with.
I never heard of the NCAA nitty-gritty thing, and I've been covering basketball for over 40 years.
I have. Yeah. Starting with, where have you been living under a rock? And then he went into it and broke it down pretty well. I mean, all this stuff was off the top of his head, and so.
All right. Well, hold that thought, because we're way over. But I remember a line from Sleeper, the old Woody Allen movie, where he says something like, "I like to take both your heads and knock them together and turn them into some substance resembling guacamole." That's what I thought about the 2 coaches they needed. Thank goodness our friend Doug Shows was there refereeing. He's Ron Higgins. I'm Lee Feinswag. We're way off the rails and way over on this first segment of Sports 225.
Hi, I'm the human dislike button. You may recognize me as the guy who enforces rules at Breck Parks. Check out my amazing presentation. Did you know? Motorized vehicles are not allowed in Breck Parks. Sales and solicitation are prohibited without permission from Breck. And my favorite rule, keep Breck Parks clean by placing all trash in trash cans. Come on, you can do this. For more information about these and other Breck rules, please visit breck.org/HDB.
Back on Sports 225, talking to Ron Higgins from NOLA.com. We spent the last segment talking a lot about the LSU, artist formerly known as USL, thing that happened last week. And all that being said, whatever came out of that, I hope the 2 coaches, Will Wade at LSU and Bob Marlin at Louisiana, at some point get together and say, look, let's do what's best for the basketball in Louisiana. And maybe that spicing it up was a good thing. But I have always maintained that there should be an annual 8-team Louisiana basketball tournament, a 3-day, 8-team tournament that should include LSU, Louisiana Lafayette, Tulane, and Louisiana Tech, and then you can fill it in certainly with one of the many schools that play basketball in Louisiana in Division I, and so that you play all 3 days, and you make it a really good Louisiana tournament.
Yeah, but also kills your RPI and it kills your home.
Oh, look, it's not true for LSU because look at the teams they play. They play awful teams. They play all those Southland and SWAC teams anyway.
Okay, Houston had a high RPI. Memphis had a high RPI. Michigan had a high RPI. They're in the final.
Well, I'm not saying not playing those tournaments.
Yeah.
You just start the season or have it at Christmas time when nobody's doing anything anyway.
Well, I mean, to me, I think it's more about home games than anything else.
And be the host. Make it worth their while.
No, Lafayette wouldn't do that. They're
You don't think they'd come here for 3 days if they got good competition and CST?
hell no. They're Louisiana Lafayette. We don't have to do anything. That's what you get from them. They changed their name and all of a sudden they're a player. So
When they fired Marty Fletcher, and this goes back a pretty long time now, he had been to the NCAA tournament 2 times in 11 years. And I maintained in the Sun Belt Conference, if you go to the NCAA tournament 2 times in 11 years, you're above the curve. And you can go look it up.
yeah.
So
they should. I think they should play like once every 4 or 5 years. Play a home and home. Yeah, I do think that. And that they should play. I don't know if you ever get Bob Marlin and Will Wade to sit down on the table and break bread, unless it's really hard bread they hit each other the head with. But they
this is why I have Higgins on, because he comes up with stuff like that.
They should play. I mean, it's
Right.
and they should play. I suggested in a column that Don King should promote it, and they can play it at Rapides Coliseum called the Rumble at Rapides. That way you have a neutral site and everybody's happy. But everybody wants a home and home.
If you don't read his stuff at NOLA.com, you're missing out.
But they should. I really like every 4 or 5 years. You can't do it every couple of years. I mean, Will's in charge of scheduling now, and I think that they got a return game against Memphis next year with their new coach Penny Hardaway.
Well, let's go there as long as, because Ron, of course, was in Memphis for a very, very long time, covered a lot of Memphis. And Penny Hardaway, of course, from when he played at Memphis and then through his NBA career. Tubby Smith, forced out in essence, and then Penny's in. Thoughts about that whole situation?
Tubby didn't connect with the city, and you have to connect with the city in that case. And he kind of went there and took his paycheck, tried to coach basketball, and you can't do that. You can't do that at Memphis like you can't do that at Kentucky. That's why one reason Cal was so good in that job. He embraced all that pressure and all that fandom and everything. And Memphis, on a smaller scale, is the same thing. Memphis, that's Memphis's team. So Tubby did embrace that. Didn't recruit anybody from the city, which is a huge mistake.
Yeah, because Memphis always has good talent.
And so, this is a risk. Penny just won a state championship as a Memphis high school coach.
Penny's from Memphis too, isn't he?
Yeah, he's from Memphis.
Yeah.
Played in high school there, played for Memphis. Had a really good NBA career. Could have been great if he hadn't gotten hurt. Olympic gold medal, NBA, first team All-NBA. But it's a risk in the fact he's never been a college coach, even as an assistant.
Wow.
And so that's a big risk. But they were thinking, here's a guy that we think they can recruit, and we watch his teams in high school. They're well disciplined. You can see there's something going on there. So it's a risk, but it's one of those. It's a risk/PR move kind of deal.
Yeah. As long as we're in that part of the country, we mentioned in the first segment about Kermit Davis going to Ole Miss. Of course, we talked about it. We said it was his first SEC coaching job. Of course, he was the head coach at Texas A&M long before Texas A&M was in the SEC. He's been the head coach at different places. Of course, he was a longtime assistant here with John Brady before he went to Middle Tennessee, where he's done great.
He was at Idaho, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was head coach at Idaho. Great. Murfreesboro, Tennessee is a really nice town, and that's a really nice little university, and he's done great there. But this is wonderful to see a really good guy get this chance.
It's phenomenal what he's done in Middle Tennessee, and he is a good guy, and he's a very good coach, and he's a guy that You know, before Wade's mentioned, Will last year was mentioned LSU. I mean, Kermit should have been considered heavily. I don't know how heavily he was considered, but he should have been. Here's a guy that's been. It's a good fit for Ole Miss. You know, despite the
Mississippi State.
Oh yeah, a few Ole Miss people. Who's Mississippi State guy? Who's dad coach Mississippi State? Oh, shut up. Just shut up. The guy can coach. He can coach.
Yeah.
And he's a hell of a coach. And he's from Mississippi. His dad coached Mississippi State, but he's from Mississippi.
He went to Mississippi State.
Yeah, and he's proud of being from in Mississippi. And his dad coached Joe Dean Jr. And his dad's still alive, still sharp, good guy. And I'm hoping he really does really well. Again, the SEC adds another really good coaching piece, and you want to know why they had 8 teams in the tournament this year?
You parlay right into my next
because
thing.
they have better coaching.
All right, we're way over again. Well, that's where we'll pick it up about another coach they picked up in
I'm
this
just
league.
good this way. I'm just leading you right down this place.
That's why he's here. All I do is throw softballs. He's Ron Higgins. I'm Lee Feinswag. It says it right there. This is Sports 225.
Hi, I'm the human dislike button. You may recognize me as the rules guy for Breck Parks. Sometimes the rules slip past us, so I put together this amazing presentation. Did you know? Golf practice is only allowed at designated golf facilities. Firearms, explosives, and weapons are not allowed on Breck property. Metal detecting is allowed in some parks, but go to Breck's website to learn more about this and other park rules. For more information, visit breck.org/HDB.
We're back on Sports 225. Lee Feinswag hanging out with Ron Higgins, and we actually segued into this segment, a rare bit of continuity for this show. But Georgia picked up Tom Crean as its coach. Tom Crean, of course, I'm pretty sure I have this right. He went from Marquette to Indiana.
Right.
And when he went to, he had done magic at Marquette, and the state of Indiana was so excited when he came there and embraced him in such a big way, and he just never could get it done. And what a shame, too, because if there's the one school in all of college basketball that wants to be good, that is in the heart of basketball country, it's Indiana. Nonetheless, he goes to Georgia, which continues to upgrade its coaching staff throughout the program. But that goes back to your point, which was the SEC had the most number of teams in the tournament, 8. As predicted, though, by someone I know well, they wouldn't have more than 2 in the round of 16.
Ain't it funny that also the 2 they predicted were the 2 that were predicted at the top of the league at the start of the year? Kentucky and A&M were predicted.
Was A&M predicted?
They predicted toward the top. I understand toward the top of the league, and of course, Kentucky finished like 4th and A&M 7th. But it kind of always comes back around. Of course, this term is so whacked out right now. You got 2 number 7s and 2 number 11s left. And
well, there's 2 things about that. Number one is LSU beat Texas A&M twice in the regular season, and had a 3-pointer hit the rim at the buzzer to send Kentucky into overtime, and that's
and beat Michigan.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but I was just talking about specifically in the SEC.
And
Right.
LSU was the only team to beat A&M twice in the league.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the weirdest thing how LSU beat Arkansas and A&M twice. But again, it all goes back to matchups. But where I was going with that on the wind round was, on one hand, upsets and exciting stuff in the NCAA tournament. On the other hand, what an absolutely abysmal job, obviously, of seeding and selecting the field. I mean, because the idea in a perfect tournament, the higher seed wins every single match, all the way through, But I mean, but that's not what we want.
You don't blame it on seeding?
This?
Yeah.
Well, obviously, if a team is a really bad seed and marches through and beats up other people, then somebody screwed up.
I don't know who's marching through besides Villanova.
For example, should UMBC have been a 16? They played a hell of a lot better than a 16.
Well, yeah, but
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
the teams that were left out. I'm just
I
the nice thing. So no matter what happens in college basketball, okay, there's all these changes going to happen now with the Players Union and the NBA rules, and whether they stay for a year, they don't have to stay, or they stay 2 years. It doesn't make any difference, because ultimately in the NCAA tournament, it's going to be good. You're going to get good basketball teams playing each other, and there's going to be one shining moments at the end, no matter what.
Yeah.
And that's what they're getting. But in this case, obviously the seeding was crazy.
Well, maybe it was crazy, but maybe just
You want me to give credit to athletes and coaches and stuff.
It was a full moon. Hell, I mean, it's just one of those things where it kind of went crazy. I mean, there were like 7 games, one possession. There were 7 one-possession games in the first 2 rounds. Well, Chicago got through by a combined 3 points. Hit a shot with 1 second left, one with 5 seconds left. I mean, because they had the sister over there going, Jesus, make the shot. I mean, that's why Nevada's done. I mean, Musselman's got to go. He's got to go against God.
Have you watched Nevada play?
Yeah.
I haven't. I have not seen them this year.
Yeah. I mean, they can shoot, and then other day, I mean, they just kind of kept with it. Of course, Musselman at the end takes his shirt off and runs around naked and shows his abs. It's a big deal. I'm sure Johnny Jones is going, I ain't gonna do that. No, he can do that.
Johnny Jones' son is on that team.
Yeah.
Did not. They played 6 players. Nevada did the other day in their round of 16 win.
They're going to play good defense most of the time. And
did you know Eric Musselman's dad, Bill, the late Bill Musselman?
Yes, yeah.
Was there a more? He's crazy. He was nuts in basketball, right? Am I wrong? He was at South Alabama.
Alabama. He was also at Minnesota when they had that huge fight in basketball with Dave Winfield, as a basketball player. So yeah, his dad was crazy. Eric Musselman was an NBA coach. He's in his 50s, but acts like he's like in his 30s. He's just an absolute basketball junkie.
Yeah.
And I think he's a great coach.
And I enjoyed visiting when he was here at LSU, and wish his influence could have even been better. But it's funny how it works out. Johnny Jones on his staff. Okay, we're going to try to get this show back on the semi-clock rails.
Really?
Yeah, I think we only have 1 segment left.
Okay.
I don't know. Time goes fast when you're having fun. We'll be right back. It's Sports 225.
Well. Looks like someone forgot all neighborhood Breck Parks close at dark.
You want another?
I think they'll pass. Amplified music and sound is prohibited without permission from Breck. No alcoholic beverages on Breck property. Smoking of tobacco products is not allowed. Use of fire is prohibited except at grills. Gotta remember, Breck wants you to have fun, but in the right way. For more info, go to breck.org/HDB.
Coming down the home stretch of another Sports 225. If you go to sports225.com, you not only can watch all the old shows archived on our Sports 225 TV YouTube channel, they can go see tons of hours of Ron Higgins.
Do you my greatest hits?
Yeah, I mean, Higgs on here, at least, on the average of once a month. So, 3 or 4 times per season, if you will, fall, spring. You can also get the show times of when we're on Cox 4, which is Your View, and CST. Thanks to John Williams from Think JCW for directing. So you said you still have 2 teams left of your Final 4?
And 1, West Virginia.
That's your only team left.
Yes,
West Virginia could win?
I got 6 teams left in the Sweet 16, and I feel good. I mean, you got it blown up, yeah. But, I mean, I think in the end, the usual suspect will win it. Probably Villanova or Kansas.
Yeah, I had Purdue. I pick Purdue to win every year.
I had a thing today with 5 teams to pull for, and Purdue was one of them. Nevada was one. A&M was one. The Mission from God was one. Although Chicago, I forgot who the other one was. But yeah, the teams that you pull them for an A&M because of Billy Kennedy.
Yeah.
New Orleans native, and just
one of the best guys.
One of the best guys ever in college basketball, and you pull from every time, no matter what's happening.
Right. It's got nothing to do with SEC stuff. Trust me, he's just a really good guy.
Yeah.
Good. Follow you at Ron Hig on Twitter. He's prolific, and his stuff at NOLA.com, where nobody breaks it down better than him. And now you'll move on to spring football, baseball, all the above.
I've been doing baseball already, football. Yeah.
And with that, I wish you would do. And thank you for coming on. Thank you for watching. And this has been Sports 225.
At carnival time by Baton Rouge Bay, that's the site of my story. At Spanish Town Mardi Gras, things can get blurry. See the mowers marching prizes fill the sky. This Spanish